Welcome to this story that I've called The Final Savings. Chapter 1. The Feeling in the Ear. By June 2026, Daniel knew something had changed. Not just in his own life, but in everything. The world had felt strange since COVID. Back then, people spoke about getting back to normal, but normal never came back. Prices climbed, jobs disappeared, artificial intelligence replaced roles that people thought would exist forever. Wars appeared on television screens every day. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine dragged on, and tensions in the Middle East kept flaring. Trade disputes between major powers grew worse, and the stock market seemed detached from reality. Every week, the news talked about record highs while ordinary people struggled to pay rent. Daniel sat in his small apartment staring at his bank account. $1,300. That was all he had. No steady job, a few freelance gigs, bills coming, rent due, food getting more expensive. For the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid of losing money. He was more afraid of standing still, because standing still felt like falling behind. Outside, the world felt like it was building towards something enormous, and he wanted to be on the right side of it. Chapter 2. The Rabbit Hole. Daniel spent hours every day researching. Not social media influencers, not moon boy predictions, actual technology, actual use cases. He started reading white papers, watching interviews, following developers instead of traders. One theme kept appearing. The world was moving toward digital infrastructure. Just as the internet transformed information, blockchain seemed ready to transform value. Governments were discussing CBDCs. Banks were experimenting with tokenized assets. Cross-border payments were becoming a priority. Machine-to-machine payments were emerging. AI agents were beginning to transact with each other. The deeper Daniel looked, the more he realized something. Crypto wasn't one thing. Crypto was many different industries being built at the same time. So he decided to build a portfolio around sectors, not hype. Chapter 3. Building the portfolio. His first purchase was XRP. He saw it as one of the clearest bets on institutional finance. Banks hated slow international transfers. Money still moved like it was in 1985. If digital settlements became standard, XRP could play a role. Then came XLM, similar vision, different audience. Where XRP focused heavily on institutions, Daniel saw XLM helping ordinary people move value across borders cheaply. The world had millions of migrant workers sending money home. That market alone was enormous. Next was Quant. This one fascinated him. Every bank, government, and blockchain seemed to exist on separate islands. Quant focused on interoperability, connecting systems. Daniel believed the future wouldn't be one blockchain. It would be thousands, and somebody would need to connect them. Chapter 4. Betting on the future. The next purchase felt riskier. Bitensor Tau. Most people around him had never heard of it, but AI was exploding. Every company wanted AI. Every investor wanted AI. The question was one of who would own the infrastructure. Bittenzohr proposed a decentralized network where intelligence itself became a commodity. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about it. What if AI became as important as electricity? Then he found Reactive Network. Reactive was focused on event-driven blockchain applications, automation, smart contracts that reached and reacted to events automatically. Daniel wasn't completely sure where it would end up, but he liked that it was building something genuinely new, not simply copying others. Chapter 5: Machines that Pay Machines. The deeper he researched, the more one concept fascinated him: machine economies. AI agents, autonomous services, machines paying machines. That led him to CBEC, CBCN. The idea of continuous payments felt revolutionary. Not monthly, not weekly, every second. Streaming value continuously. Employers, freelancers, businesses, AI agents. The use cases seemed endless. Then came Peak, perhaps the most speculative of all. Peak focused on the machine economy. Connected vehicles, robots, physical infrastructure networks. The concept sounded futuristic, but Daniel noticed something. The future always sounded ridiculous before it arrived. The internet sounded ridiculous once, so did smartphones, so did streaming. He bought Peak. His portfolio was complete. Chapter 6: The Crash. 2 weeks later, everything crashed. Hard. The market dropped violently. Bitcoin fell. Altcoins fell harder. Social media turned into panic. People screamed about recession. People screamed about war. People screamed about financial collapse. Daniel watched his portfolio shrink. $1,300 became $1,100, then $950, then $850, then lower. His stomach twisted. He couldn't sleep. He considered selling. Then he remembered why he bought. Nothing had changed, only the prices. So he made the hardest decision of his life. He invested another $250. Money meant for food. Money meant for emergencies. Money meant for next month's rent. It felt reckless. It felt terrifying. But it also felt like conviction. Chapter 7: Living Lean. The following weeks were brutal. Daniel survived on cheap noodles, rice, eggs, discount vegetables. Every purchase became a calculation. His friends laughed when he refused nights out. "Still gambling on crypto, are you?" they joked. Daniel didn't argue, because from the outside in, it looked exactly like gambling. The market kept falling. News remained negative. His portfolio sat deep in the red. Meanwhile, life continued. Rent, bills, stress. The rich seemed untouched. They traveled, bought property, accumulated assets. Ordinary people worried about groceries. The divide felt wider than ever. Chapter 8: The Shift Begins. Then, things started changing, slowly. At first, nobody noticed. The United States pushed forward with clearer digital asset regulations. Financial institutions became more comfortable entering the space. Tokenization discussions accelerated. Countries around the world expanded CBDC programs. Cross-border settlement systems became increasingly digital. Japan's financial market stabilized after volatility connected to carry trade unwinding. Liquidity slowly returned to risk assets. Infrastructure projects kept launching. Banks kept experimenting. Developers kept building. For the first time, crypto felt less like rebellion and more like emerging infrastructure. Daniel paid attention. The crowd paid attention to prices. Daniel paid attention to adoption. Chapter 9. Green! One morning, he woke up. Everything was green. Not slightly green, but very green. Reactive had doubled. Peak had tripled. Bitensor was climbing rapidly. XRP broke major resistance. XLM followed. Quant started attracting institutional attention. His portfolio crossed $5,000, then $7,000, then $10,000. Daniel refreshed the screen every few minutes. His heart raced. Months of fear transformed into excitement. The same people who mocked him suddenly started asking questions. Which coin should I buy? Chapter 10. The Great Realization. Something strange happened. The gains didn't make him happy, at least not immediately. They made him cautious. Because he finally understood something. The market rewarded patience, not intelligence, not predictions, patience. The people wanted certainty, but certainty only appeared after prices moved. By then, the opportunity was usually gone. The people buying now were buying because they felt safe. Daniel had bought because he felt uncomfortable. That difference changed everything. Chapter 11. The New Economy. By 2028, the machine economy was becoming real. Connected vehicles, AI agents, tokenized assets, digital identities, cross-border settlements. The average person didn't care about the technology, just like most people didn't care how the internet worked. They only cared that it worked. Peak grew alongside machine infrastructure. Reactive expanded its ecosystem. And Sebek's payment technology gained adoption. Bitensor became one of the most discussed decentralized AI networks. XRP and XLM benefited from growing digital payments systems. Quant found itself increasingly valuable in a fragmented blockchain world. The thesis Daniel built in his apartment began playing out. Chapter 12. The $1 million headline. By 2030, crypto entered another major cycle. Institutional capital arrived at a scale never seen before. Pension funds, asset managers, sovereign wealth funds, the money was enormous. Projects with real utility surged. Speculative coins came and went. Infrastructure survived. Daniel's portfolio crossed 6 figures, then several 100,000. Then one morning, it happened. His screen displayed a number he never imagined seeing. 1,023,000. He stared silently, not celebrating, not screaming, just staring. The number looked unreal. 1,023,000. Chapter 13. The Apartment. The funny thing was that he didn't immediately buy anything. For years he dreamed about becoming rich. Now that he was, he felt exactly the same. Just safer. He paid off debts, moved into a better apartment, helped his parents, built an emergency fund. For the first time in years, he slept peacefully. No panic, no fear, no calculations, just sleep. It felt better than any luxury. Chapter 14. Those left behind. Not everyone benefited. Many people ignored the changes. Some stayed in cash, while inflation slowly reduced their purchasing power. Others chased trends too late. Many remained trapped in cycles of debt and consumption. The rich continued accumulating assets. The difference was that Daniel finally owned assets too. He understood the game now. The wealthy weren't necessarily smarter. They simply owned things that appreciated. The poor often owned things that depreciated. That realization stayed with him forever. Chapter 15. The View from the Future. One evening, Daniel stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The skyline glowed beneath him. Drones crossed the sky. Autonomous vehicles moved below. Digital payments flowed invisibly across networks. Most people never thought about the systems making it possible. Yet, somewhere beneath all of it were technologies he had believed in years earlier. He remembered June 2026. The empty refrigerator, the anxiety, the fear, the $1,300, the extra $250 he almost didn't invest, the nights wondering if he had made a terrible mistake. He smiled, not because he became rich, but because he had chosen action over fear. He chose action over fear. The world had changed, just as he sensed it would. The old system hadn't disappeared, it had evolved. And those willing to study, adapt, and endure uncertainty found themselves standing where new roads were being built. Below him, millions of people continued their lives. Some worried about bills, some chased dreams, some searched for opportunity, just as he once had. Daniel looked across the horizon and thought about how close he had come to doing nothing. Sometimes life-changing moments don't feel dramatic when they happen. Sometimes they look like a tired man sitting alone in a tiny apartment, risking his last savings on a future nobody else can yet see. Thank you for watching.